Well, here we go. Last couple videos ago I showed the haul out, and here we are a week or so later. I'm gonna shrink wrap it. So I'm just kind of taking a look around here. It looks like I'll be able to stand on that to get to the top part, so that's good. I like that. But we got to get up there and get the canvas off, get it cleaned and put away, and then start making our framing. So let's get to work. All the canvas put down and are taken down, cleaned up, and put away. Just a couple other little things I got to do. Put the light down. Got the bars back, they're in good shape. Now we're going to start tying off the strap that goes over the top. So there's a way to do this that makes my life a way easier. What I do is tie to the bow here, stretch it up over the radar arch, down the back of the boat, and tie it off in the middle and tie it tight. And then once I do that, then I'll show you what I do with the wood. For this next part, it's very simple. You're going to need some 2x4s, a saw, and a staple gun. And no, you won't need those yet. So let me get a 2x4 and we'll get this piece in. So how I do it is like this. I'll just hold the 2x4 up against this strap. I'll bring the strap up to where I like it. That's about right there. And then what I'll do is I'll just mark that area right there and I'll cut that off. So just hold with my thumb there, grab a saw, go cut this off. I'll be right back. Now that's there. I like it. Maybe I'll move it up a little bit. Right there seems good. Okay, so now the staple gun comes in. Ooh. Put you here. That's where the staple gun comes in handy. Right where you want it. The staple on it. Now it can't move. I mean, it can move, but it won't just fall over on me. And then once I come back in here, I'll run my corner straps and then I'll put a sponge on top of here, and then that'll protect it. So right now that's good. Let's go make up 2 more for the bow and get to cross strapping. All right, now that the 3 2x4s are in place, we're going to do the webbing. The webbing is crisscross over these boards, and that way when the shrink wrap lays over the stuff, it has straps to lay on, so you don't have just all that extra plastic just trying to support everything. So I'm going to get on that. And the same thing, we're just going to go crisscross pattern across these 2x4s, tie them in behind stanchions just to make it nice and straight, and then a couple staples just to hold it in place and move on to the next one. So I'll show you. That's a nice good webbing on the bow of the boat here. I like that. That'll give enough support for that for the shrink wrap to not sag. I mean, it really has a tough time sagging when it's shrunk, real tight, but this just gives it that extra support. Also, it keeps these pieces of wood just in line. They don't move. Okay, so now I'm going to put the sponges on top, and then while I'm up here, and then go do webbing on that back one, and then it's very windy today, so we're going to deal with this shrink wrap. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm procrastinating because I know it's going to be a pain. We're going to bring it up over the bow, down the back, and the wind's coming from this direction, so I think I'm going to pull that side under first, tuck it, and maybe just weld it a little bit to keep it straight. This end can just flap whatever it wants to do. I can grab it and then tuck it in. So that is the plan. Let's get these sponges on. I just heard thump, roll, 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 thump. So somewhere down here, my roll of tape took off. Let's go find it. Oh, there it is. Little bastard. That's the one bad thing about this. Constantly going up and down ladders. Try to get as much stuff up on there as I can so I don't have to move around, but do dumb things like that. You're up and down a ladder. Let's continue. Feel good about that. These go up and around these canvas supports and kind of pin them down too, and they're tied on to the grab handle on the outside of the radar arch. So that feels good. Like I said, the sponges are there really to have the shrink wrap slide over the top of this wood and not get all caught up. And it's easier to burn through it too when they got little nicks and stuff up there. And of course, you burn through way up here when you're outside of the boat. You know, to get to it is a pain to tape up the holes or whatever. So try to take the best care to cushion this off and just have the canvas slide over it nice and easy. I think we achieved that. So now, and then yeah, I'll shut that windshield once I get the canvas up and over. But now we have to take all our stuff off the boat and put the belly strap on, and then get the canvas or get the shrink wrap ready. My boat has a bit of a goofy hull design. It's not a goofy hull design, but it has a hull design where the belly strap likes to fall down. So I try to keep it as tight as I can. This is where the straps were. Dirt. I try to keep it as tight as I can. So in a couple places, I'll just keep a piece of tape, a little piece of shrink wrap tape, and that way I can pull this real tight. And with this being like tight, I can get the shrink wrap over the top of it and then tuck it underneath, and just the force of the strap will hold it against the boat. If it's real loose, the shrink wrap can come out of it and then flap around and make it a big pain. So take a little bit of extra time and just put a couple pieces of tape on here. That is how the perimeter strap is run on this boat. Just keep it, you know, pretty parallel all the way around. And once I put these straps on, these ones that go from the stanchions down, that holds this all up. And once that's held up, I can pull off those pieces of tape so they're not sitting on the gel coat all winter. And did that around. I tied this off to the anchor because there's no hoop on this boat to run it through. I usually run it through the hoop, but I run on through the anchor here so that when the canvas comes, or the shrink wrap comes down here, I can fold it around this and weld it off. And the same thing around this side. It's all nice in there and good to go. So now it is time to get prepared and get this shrink wrap over the boat. I had a huge fail yesterday. Years ago, I had some scrap iron laying around, and I made these little triangle things here. And then there was a piece of rebar that ran through it to the other one, and I put the a piece of angle iron, and the angle iron went through the tube here, and then hooked on there, and then you can just spool it off, and it would, you know, sit off the ground a little bit, and it worked really well. The problem is, when I bought this shrink wrap, I had some issues with it. I dropped off the forklift, other stuff, you know, so the ends are nicked up on it. You can kind of see it in there, you know, in there. So I'm going to have some holes in the stuff as I do it. But the biggest problem was the cardboard tube that's in there got wet. So as I was pulling it off, it grabbed onto the angle iron and started twisting all up in there, and then I got screwed. So I had to take it off that real quick and then just do it old-fashioned way. But this morning I went out and just grabbed a hunk of aluminum pipe that I had laying in the yard, a couple clamps to keep it from rolling this direction, and then the tailgate will hold it there, and then I can just bring it up and over. So let's get prepared and get this thing over the boat. You guys want to see this? Here's how we do it. So I gotta cut this off where I want it, and then get the one end over and get it welded in real quick. So set you up real quick here. Get that out. Get ready to go. Do this. So use the tape. Take this off real quick, so I'm gonna get my gun ready and see if I can't get that, at least this little piece here, welded on so it doesn't, I mean, the wind is keeping it at the boat, but if it flips up, we're in big trouble. So let me get that situated. Here I go to the widest part of the boat and get as much as I need here. Take the strap, hold it under the strap like that. Just like this. It's gonna be a little messy right now because I'm trying to control it, but I'm gonna weld this in real quick so that it won't move anymore. So now the inside of that is stuck to itself, and then it's around this strap here. So now it can't go anywhere. So now I can focus on getting this whole side welded in. You can see that it kind of got crooked here. It's kind of dipping down. So I'm gonna go to the other side of the boat, pull some over, and I want just enough on this side to do all my welding, and then the other side I'll cut off the scrap. That'll do. Get this rolled up. Move over to the other side and hold tight. from where that strap was until, you know, like the front standish. Pull that tight, cut off the scrap, and just so I can get at least the center of the boat here tightened down, and then we'll worry about the bow and the stern when we're done. Got that center section done. I'm going to go back a little bit further, but I was mistaken, and in a good way. I thought I was going to have some extra to take off on the side, and I didn't. 28-foot wide roll for a 13-foot wide boat with a radar arch is like the perfect width to do this. I had about a foot of stuff to tuck underneath here to weld it off, and that's like perfect length. Obviously we got stuff to take off the bow, but no, I like it. So let me just finish buttoning up to the stern before I go around the corner, and then we'll start dealing with cutting this off and getting that tucked in. Well, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You don't want more than like a foot, 8 inches to a foot of extra material underneath that strap, because then it's just this big ugly, you know, lump of strap or lump of shrink wrap, you know, all in here. So what I like to do is I always pull down on just straight down the boat. Don't try to move the shrink wrap forward or backwards. It just wants to go down straight. And if you come to a section where you're gonna have a lot of leftover material, we'll put a pleat in it, and I'll show you that later. But for right now, I want to be able to cut off the excess here on the bow so that I have a nice uniform foot or less of material. So let's go ahead and attempt that. Like I said, straight down until you feel your strap right here, and then down here, just put a little cut so I kind of know where I'm at. Cut that back to where it disappears. You guys got this. Sorry, nothing I can do about it, but here, let's see if I can do this. We got her. I'm in the yard, so I gotta keep up after myself and not have too much crap going around. But find the strap right there, come down about 8-9 inches, foot. Let's get some of this welded in before we go any further. If it's not a windy day, I can come in here, tuck the shrink wrap under the band, do all the cuts, and just let it sit there, and it won't move. But with this wind, it wants to blow around, and I don't want anything to flop over, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of weld as we go. And let's see if you can see any of this. Will that work? wind right there. Just kind of hanging on for a minute. Can't even see what's going on. Alright, let's weld this back. The wind just died. Sorry you couldn't see any of that. I'm just trying to get this on as quickly as I can because it's so windy. So I'm going to continue on working to the bow here, cut this piece off and weld it on, and then I will continue around the side. So I'm going to put you down for a little bit and just kind of get ahead of this, and I'll show you the results. I got the whole stern of the boat done. It's all tucked in and shrinked in there, but I just wanted to show you what a pleat looks like. That's when you have all this extra material that was in this corner here. Instead of cutting it off and trying to do other stuff, I tuck it underneath. It goes way back in there, right? So how you deal with the pleat here is with the heat, and I'll show you real quick. I know my head's going to be in the way, but I don't have any place to put you down there. So with this heat gun, you can open up the pleat here and just drive some heat in here. And once you drive the heat in there, let this go, it'll stick to it. So watch. So now that that's welded on there, I feel comfortable with it. But what I do after this is once I shrink the whole boat up and everything's nice and tight, I'll come with some shrink wrap tape and tape up these seams, just in case if it gets real windy here and those welds aren't super sturdy, it could blow apart. But the tape holds it together. So I'm gonna go now. We have to put on some belly straps. I know I kept calling this one a belly strap, but this is like the perimeter strap. The belly straps, you have to do it now, because what would happen is, let me get you guys figured out. If I were to just start shrinking this and tightening up this whole side here, what it would do is lift up on this and just pull and stretch that cord. So what I'm going to do in like 3 sections of the boat, like one in front of that part there, or the cribbing there, in front of that cribbing there, and in front of my prop shafts there, I'm going to run a piece of strap, cut a hole in here, piece of strap here underneath the boat, make another hole and tighten it up, and it really pulls down on that. And then when I shrink this up, it won't pull up. So let's go ahead and do that. So now what I do is I take a little piece of shrink wrap tape and I tape half on the side, put a slit in it, and I'll put the other on the inside there, and it keeps it from trying to rip this out. It won't rip out any much more than that, but nice and tight now. I'll do that 2 more sections, and that'll keep this from rising up. So I'll get back to you when that's all done. Just take a piece of shrink wrap tape, slit it down the center, about halfway. And that'll keep it from tearing out. So it looks good. All right. For the fun part, it's really windy here, so you really have to pay attention. I can't do the upper parts here first because it gets so loose when you're heating it that the wind will actually stretch it super far and you can't get a hold of it. So I'm going to go from the bottom of the rub rail down and get that tighter, and it'll start bringing the top tight too. And then once I get up here, I'll try to reach like underneath this rub rail, or the stanchions here, and get that section. We'll get that section in the end. Once the boat is shrunk all the way around, we'll focus on that part back there, both sides, because that'll be a lot tighter and easier to work with. And we're just gonna have to kind of work between gusts of wind. So let's get to work. That went very nice. I'm going to try to go up a little bit higher now and bring it to you, but you can kind of see that it's really starting to get tighter. Now, back there is a little loose, but once I get the other side, it'll really start tightening up. So just continue on here. That is getting very nice there. So the way shrink wrap works is when you heat it up, it shrinks, of course, because you can see that. But as it cools down, it shrinks even tighter. So a lot of these, they're not wrinkles, but all these little waves that you see here, after I get the whole boat tightened up with the heat, and then the cool starts hitting it, those all start to disappear. There's always somebody on there who will always complain and say, oh, you left wrinkles in the shrink wrap, you got to get those out. Well, you don't. And if you have that bad of an OCD issue that you have to have every wrinkle out of your shrink wrap, then you need to have professional help. So that's just the way it goes. Let me get... To the back of the boat, and then we'll get out the extension. This piece right here, it's like a 6-foot extension, and that'll get to the higher parts, but we'll get to that in a little bit. That's it. So I can reach up a little bit higher. This stuff. tries to, you can kind of see the light gray areas there. That's where the wind really starts pushing it, trying to stretch it out. But now as it's starting to cool down, it's starting to shrink back up again. That's what happened to the whole side here. The wind blows at it so hard it stretches it, but I'm not really worried about that. It'll straighten itself out in a little bit here. Let's get this side done, and then we'll figure out how to get to the top. I think I'm gonna stand on this thing. Might not be close enough. Might need the ladder. She's about 95% done. I'm kind of at an impasse. I can't get the very top. I mean, I can get to it. The only problem is it's like gusting 35 mile an hour here, and you're just gonna get yourself in trouble, because as soon as it starts to shrink, the wind will gust and it'll make a big, big balloon area out of it, and then that's too much. So I'm gonna call it for today. I'll post this video, but maybe I'll make another one in a few days when the weather calms down. Come back here and just button up the top real quick and kind of show that. But for now, I think I'm gonna just I got a couple little holes here and there that I burned through some of those nicks and some hot spots that I got burned through. So I just got to come around here with some tape. All right, I went around the boat, and any little holes and nicks and stuff I just taped over. A couple on the back here. It's nice and tight though. I still gotta do the top, because I don't like leaving it without at least some heat hitting it. I did probably from this stanchion all the way back, the very top, the bow I got to get, and then the whole other side. But like I said, it was just so windy that I couldn't keep heat on it without it trying to blister and do all sorts of weird stuff. So I'm gonna leave it like that for now, and then we'll come back another day when the wind is calm and just button it up real quick. Shouldn't only take me about another 20 minutes or so. So that's it. That'll do it for this one. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and have a great day. Oh yeah, look at it. Could be like that one over there. Anyways, catch you on the next one.